Hello everybody! What's popping, Pop Rocks? Today I decided I'm going to review the movie Klaus, which I enjoyed very much. This is a review based off of my first watch, so it's everything that I could get from a first watch. So to begin, I really liked the movie. I give it a 10 out of 10 because it was funny, it's really pretty, it has pretty good music, and I really like the character design. It's very fun. And it's a great movie to watch with the family, with friends, or even on your own. So let's get in a little bit more in depth on why it's a good movie to watch. Again, based solely on the first watch. Got my notes here. All right, folks. So, the movie of Klaus, it's a movie about how the legend of Santa Claus began, which is an interesting take on it, and it's pretty well done because they could have done anything with it, and for it being an animated Christmas movie, it's not a cash grab, or at least it doesn't seem like a cash grab like usual. So the story begins with Jesper being a stuck-up rich boy who doesn't know what a hard life is. He has been given everything to him from the very beginning, and so he doesn't really seem like he wants to be a postman, but his father kind of like makes him to be a postman. So he goes into the town of Smeerensburg to set up a post office, and the town of Smeerensburg hates everybody in it. Like, they all don't like each other, they don't send mail, they're just angry, unforgiving. I'm reading the Wikipedia article off the top of my head. What's interesting about this movie is that it has a lot of detail put into it, in everything, and it takes such a 180 from where it begins to where it ends that it's pretty incredible to think that's an hour and 30 minutes. I love reading. So yeah, from the very beginning, where Jesper arrives, and it seems like nearly hopeless, his cause, even if he does seem to try, or barely try, that, like, you can really feel it. It's just, it's there. I promise you. So then, the plot actually starts with, Jesper meeting Klaus. And, the whole coincidence of, Klaus finding the letter from the child and, forcing Jesper to, give him the present and all that. And what I find, pretty coincidence about that isn't necessarily Klaus finds the letter, but instead it's word spread around, and it's that unlikelihood that it seems such an unlikely thing. It makes so much sense, but it seems like such an unlikely thing to happen that it does, and it really kicks it off. That's where it skyrockets and it's just and it's very funny. I found it hilarious. I was laughing out loud. So yeah, as the story keeps going on, there's these little details put in as the character's motivations start to actually mean something. Jesper, for example, slowly he starts to see the joy and happiness, the change that there is in the town, but he sort of is well, it was meant to be, right? So then that just keeps going, and he eventually starts to have an overbearing weight of guilt of he needs to leave. He feels like he needs to leave. And suddenly the possibility of the choice is presented to him that maybe he could stay once Alva fully introduces him to the effects of his actions. I just realized that I glossed over the entirety of what his actions does. Backtracking, because I'm not good at this. Jesper and Klaus team up to get letters from the kids, and Klaus gives them presents. Basic Santa Claus thing, right? And so the rumor spreads around, how does Klaus know what I want? How does he go down the chimney? He's so big. The toy maker. And, as that starts to spark off, and the kids start to do good things for each other, because then they're like, oh no, Klaus, he'll know if I do bad things, because Jesper scares them, just thinking, you'll get a piece of coal if you do a bad thing. And that just also sparks with the parents. And I found that pretty amazing, that it was the kids that sort of started it all. It's the kids who are the most willing to change. And that change eventually came to the parents, who were so angry at each other that it just sort of happened that maybe you can let things go and change for the better. Like, I don't know how to explain it. But basically, that's it. The way that it spreads to the parents, it's pretty amazing, I would say. At least it was presented that way. That's why it's a good movie. So yeah, going back to our main characters, we have Alva, who we are also introduced at the beginning. I loved her introduction. She was a fish person? I don't know. She sold fish for a living instead of teaching. She's a teacher. And her school was just filled with fish. And she was just dead inside, and it was hilarious, and I loved her. So then, eventually Jesper's like, hey, do you want to teach the kids how to write so I can get more letters? And she's like, well, not really. I want to leave. But, the reason why she wants to leave is because no kids want to go to school, and everyone hates each other here, and it seems like a hellhole in Smearensburg, but now it's different. Why would she move when the reason she came is already there? She begins to teach the children. She begins to teach them how to write, and she starts taking from her savings that she's been earning up by selling fish to properly fix up the school and properly teach the kids, and, change comes to her too, thanks to the children. And eventually this all just builds up of people giving to each other presents, gift giving, forgiving, a whole spiel. And it eventually trickles down to Jesper when Alva shows him the effects of his actions. That's where it actually clicks in for Jesper, that this isn't just oh man, I gotta get more letters, I need to get Klaus to make more toys. It's, hey, these people used to throw spears at each other and blow each other up. Now they're giving to each other. And we did this. And just seeing that spark of joy seems to spark something inside him too, that maybe he could change, even though he didn't want to change, even though he was happy with what he had. And then it was, he was forced into that choice. Should he stay or should he go? And in my opinion, it was a little bit forced, because his father just suddenly shows up and is like, hey there, diddly darn boy, do you want to go home? And he's like, what? And, he's forced into the choice, blah, blah, blah. But I would have wanted to see the conversation Jesper and his father would have had over, what Jesper had gone through in that small town. Because I think that was glossed over a little bit, and it sort of just jumps straight into the climax, which the climax was where, some townspeople who still hated each other were like, no, I don't want to change. And they ran over and they're like, we're going to get rid of all your toys because we don't want to change. We want everyone hating each other. And Jesper's like, no, don't do it. And Klaus is like, I can't believe you left me, Jesper. You would leave me because you wanted a posh life. I cannot believe this content right here. So then, Jesper's like, no, please forgive me. And they're doing all of this while they're running away from the mob that's after them to destroy all the toys. And what really feels at stake is not the toys, but rather Jesper's redemption, because Klaus seems really stubborn on forgiving him. And it's Jesper's action to try to save the toys that really meant something, though in the end it wasn't toys, it was fake logs. So Jesper's actions were pointless, but hey, it convinced the other people that maybe an act of kindness was pretty okay. Actually, that's not what convinced the other people who didn't want to change. It was because Pumpkin, my favorite background character, was saved by the other guy. I don't remember his name, but it was basically the opposite side's version of Pumpkin, also male, and they got married, and it was a pretty good time. So yeah, that was essentially the movie. Jesper decided to stay, and Jesper and Klaus gave presents to the children until one day Klaus went into the world, into the wind. He died. He left. And, it's kind of how it all began, because once a year, Santa Claus comes down the chimney to give you a present. And it was pretty good. Like, to talk about the animation now, to go not in depth on the animation, because I don't know much about animation. I want to be a part of the animation industry, but I'm not quite there yet. The point is, the animation was really pretty. It's 2D animated. It has amazing lighting effects that makes it look like it's CG, though it's not. And it's gorgeous. The backgrounds are gorgeous. The colors are gorgeous. The animation is silky smooth. Character design is very fun. I liked it a lot. It looks a lot better 2D than 3D. Using shapes to display, show the personality of the character, which is very fun. Looks better in 2D. So, to go down into the message of the movie of one act of kindness will spark another, it, like most Christmas movies, they always tie in, the true meaning of Christmas. And, most of them, it's pretty cheesy, pretty overdone of, oh man, Christmas ain't that bad. Just give and you'll be happy. Put some effort into giving and you'll be happy. And it's, it's boring. But with here, it's the story in itself on how it's played out. It's over exaggerated, because I don't think you're going to go walk into a small town and people are going to be blowing each other up, throwing spears and hating on each other. But what's interesting about it, or pretty incredible to believe, if it could be possible, if it gives you hope to think that it would be possible to change someone so much just because of one act of kindness, because these people, they hate each other, and the children are kind of forced into it, but at the same time, kids, they're able to change a lot easier than adults, because, I don't know, reasons. So then the kids, they start playing with these toys, they start sharing their toys. And, the parents, they're a little weirded out, of course, at the beginning, and they're wondering why this is happening, but, And then, once it really starts kicking off with Jesper's, hey, you better be good, or else Santa will give you a coal instead of a present if you're bad, because he knows. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you're asleep. I don't know the rest of it. So then they start doing good things. And, the parents at first are one-upping each other. Ha, you think you gave me jam? I'll make a cake out of your jam. And then it's well, hold up. Do you want to share the cake? And they're well, yeah, it's sort of like they've hated each other for so long that they forgot what they hated each other. And they just let it go once they started to see the good that it brought to just share things and be together. And it's that change that, it's over exaggerated, maybe, but it's done in such a way, at least in my eyes, that it seems almost believable. And it's that, one act of kindness sparks another that will do, the meaning of Christmas, giving, giving out of your heart, not giving because you owe someone something, but giving because you want to share it with them, because you want to inspire them as well. And I think that's pretty important, because, Christmas, it's over-merchandised and capitalized and whatever the heck. To go on, the music, there was a really cute, jukebox bit that I enjoyed. It was fun, and I wasn't sure if it showed up again. I was hoping it did. I didn't notice it. Who knows? And then it's the classic Christmas pop song that shows up in the Christmas movie, which it played over a montage, and I think it played out pretty well, and it seemed to fit in my opinion. I don't know. It was a good song. It's a good song. It wasn't random trap music Christmas remix song that was, unfit for the movie. I don't know. And yeah, so Klaus, the movie, is a good movie. It has a good story. It's well played out. It's pretty well paced, in my opinion. It's pretty incredible how much change goes over it throughout the movie, and it doesn't feel like rushed or slow. It goes, you could say it goes slow, like around like before the rising action, where you just feel Jesper's frustration, but it gives you that sense of time passing where it's like, you're stuck in a hole and you can't get out of it, and it's like you don't know where to go, and it's that slowness that plays into it, in my opinion. And then like the end with Jesper's decision to like leave and his talk with his father also seemed a little bit rushed. To just like rush into the climax of the movie, which is unfortunate. But hey, no movie's perfect. It's still a good movie, So watch the movie. It's good. It's a good Christmas movie. Watch it with friends and family, or yourself, your dog, your cat, your hamster, your ferret. I don't know, man. But yeah, I rate the movie 10 out of 10. This is my first time doing a review video. I hope it went well. I know I'm not like an expert on this, and this isn't like an over-analysis on the movie because I only watched it once, and I wrote everything down in a Wendy's notebook, at least all my thoughts that I thought about it, in a Wendy's notebook when I finished the movie. So it's just, first watch, and it's what I got from it. So yeah. I hope y'all have a fantastic day, and bibbity boppity boop.